Can you guys hear me? Okay, so Tina is here. I'm still trying to figure out how to work everything. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear my voice. Here's here. Okay, Tina's saying she can hear my voice. Okay. Okay, great. You guys can hear me. You can hear the music, which means I totally didn't mess this up, which I'm excited for. Hopefully you can see my screen, and it has a few things for us to do before we get started, so feel free to start working on that. You know what? Let me put the link to this live in my YouTube channel, in my link in bio of my Instagram. We have somebody else who joined. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can see who has joined, so make sure that you introduce yourself so I know that you're here. Okay, put my link in bio. And then we'll get started in probably like 3 or 4 minutes. let people know that the live stream. Okay, we'll get started at 11:10. Okay, so it is 11:10, and I think it's a good place for us to get started. Um, so I love to see that Tina and Kira are here, and it says that we have 4 users, so there might be 2 other people. I think Laquita's here as well, but she's also grocery shopping, which I'm proud of you, girl, because I know you didn't want to go grocery shopping today. Um, I wanted to start this stream off by, I guess I should first introduce myself. My name is Corinne, also known as Coco, and I'm a millennial. I'm into numbers and into finance. And about 2 weeks ago, we did a budget on Instagram live stream with some of my friends, and it was really fun and cool. And so I thought that it would be fun to come back in 2 weeks to revisit our budget and also look at our expenses that we made and reconcile those two. And so I'm going to be doing that live here. And you guys are also going to be doing it with me with your budget and with your expenses. And so the first thing I want to call out is just the fact that, like, what is reconciliation and, like, what does that mean? And so reconciliation is just the action of making one view or belief compatible with another, right? Kind of like what you say, how does that line up to something else in your life? And for our money, in this case, it's what did we set out as far as intention wise for our budget, and what does the transactions, are those two compatible? And so in order to participate in this session, I guess you will have to have logged into your Every Dollar account. If you haven't created one, you can create one now and you can still participate, and I will talk about how you can participate, and I'll mention that throughout this session. Also, put a thumbs up if you do have an Every Dollar account and you're logged in. And the second thing is to log into your bank account and make sure you have a list of transactions since April 1st. And so give me a thumbs up as well if you have both of those things, because that's really important. And then before we started, some people talked about their goals. And so Tina talked about hoping to get her budget updated and start thinking about planning for the next month, which is a great goal. And you'll see with the exercise that we do today, like, you'll be proud and confident in your decisions for next month because you have so much data from this month. And I know Kira wants to get better in the budgeting process, and I totally agree. In reconciling your budget kind of each week or every 2 weeks is what is really going to make a difference in establishing the discipline in order to get you there. Okay, so first thing is first, I think it would be good to log into EveryDollar. So you should be seeing EveryDollar. Uh-oh. Okay, so this worked a minute ago. Let's do this. Let's sign off on here. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to put the EveryDollar app on so you can see my screen. Let's see. Okay. Let me add a source. Let's do. Okay. So you may not be able to see me, but you should see EveryDollar app. Okay, so it's going to pop up in a second. Let's see. And so while I'm getting this together, feel free to log in. Oops, there it goes again. Okay, there I go. Okay. So I'm going to log into EveryDollar. Put myself over here. And so this is my budget for April. You see that I have my income, and then I also have my Rona refund, and then some leftovers from last month. What we're going to do is we're going to look at our bank statements, and we're going to add a transaction. Okay, so I'm going to go to my bank statement. You see my bank statement is here. And so it shows all of the charges. There we go. So it shows all of the charges that I made from April 1st, which is down at the bottom, to April 15th. And so the goal is to take this information here in your bank statement and input it into your EveryDollar. And I'll show you how I do that. So if you can see here, April 17th, I had my life insurance payment. So I would go to my budget, and then I would scroll down to my life insurance, and I would add a new transaction, add new, and it was for $28.37. The transaction happened on the 17th, and then I'll put U.S. life insurance. Hit track expense. Okay. So what's cool about it now is that the remaining is 0, which means that there's nothing left to spend in here because I planned for $28.37 and I spent $28.37 because my transaction says that. Um, and so I'm going to do that with each of my my transactions for the month. So I'm going to go back to my bank statement and I'm going to go just back and forth, back and forth. And you guys are going to see that. And you guys are also going to do that as well. And then we'll come together after we've inputted all of our expenses into our budget. So I'm going to play some music so you can do it. If you have a question, please put it in the chat and then I'll pause and we'll come together and we'll talk about your question. I know there might be something around like I Venmoed somebody and $50 was supposed to go here and another $20 was meant for here. Please ask that question in the chat and then I'll explain it and how you can use this app to kind of split your payments up to make sure that you are recording exactly where things are supposed to be, because the goal is to make sure that where you said your money was going to go, you actually put it there so that at the end you can kind of see adjustments you need to make for next month. So I'm going to play some music and then you'll see me going back and forth between my screens as I input my budget. So get ready to hear some music.
Welcome to Talks at GS, where leading thinkers share insights and ideas shaping the world. In this episode, we bring you a phone call hosted by Charmaine.
Okay, some people said that they can see my bank statement and not my every dollar. Can you see kind of my every dollar now? Put a thumbs up if you can. that happened after that. Okay, good. Everybody can see both, so let's keep going. And for those that have just joined, what I'm doing is I'm taking my bank statements and I'm putting each charge into my every dollar so that I'm tracking exactly what I spent for the past 17 days in April and how it adds up to my bank account. And so do the same thing as you see on my screen. And then when I'm finished, we're all going to come together to talk about what our budget looks like. Okay, so I got to one of my transactions really quickly that I did not account for, and sometimes that happens in the month. You start something, and then something happens later in the month, and you're like, oh shoot, I need to account for that. So for me, it was I started to sell candles, and at first I just started to give out candles, and then people went to purchase them. And so what's been happening now is that it's kind of turned into kind of a business, and with that, I've had to pour money from my account here into another account. And so there's a lot of withdrawals. And so to account for that in my budget right now, I'm just going to put a line that says business, as you see. I'm not going to do anything as far as planned because I didn't plan it, but I am going to add transactions to it. So like the first one was a $37 transaction, and it was an online transfer to my other account, which I'm calling G1. And that happened on, let's say, the 15th. And so what happens, it'll say like negative 37 because I didn't start with anything, but I spent $37. And what's nice about it is that at the end, I'm going to see like, okay, I transferred like $300 into my account for my business. Maybe I should plan on putting that into my budget for next month and make it a line item. So do that for any expenses that you did not anticipate having. And if you have any questions about it, please let me know and we'll stop and talk about it more. There is like a 10 or 20-second delay, so I get kind of some of your comments after the fact. But yes, entrepreneur, thank you. Oh, okay. And this is like a really good moment. So I see in my budget, in my bank statement, right, there's a charge for $1, right? And it's only $1, but it's to a subscription service that I do not use anymore. I think the guy was offering how to do something, how to create like sales funnel or something for a business, and it was only $1 and it was a monthly subscription. And I haven't gotten rid of the subscription, but I don't use it at all. And so going through here, I would have never caught that just if I did not do this reconciling. So like now I can take action on this and I can say, hey, I'm going to unsubscribe to this. And though it's only $1, I still get my dollar back, and I can use that. I can determine how I'm going to use that dollar. And so if you're going through your budget and if you see anything in your statements that you're just like, damn, I forgot I was getting charged for that. Put it in the comments and let us know what it is, um, so that other people can see. Or if there's other things that you're realizing about your budget, please feel free to put it in the comment section on YouTube so that other people can know. Maybe they're finding out the same things, or maybe they can look. Maybe they're having similar revelations, or maybe it'll help them look at their budget in a different way. And keep going. CMOS, y'all. Gotta stay healthy. Gotta break down the mucus out here with COVID.
One for baby, two for baby. Carrots on those spoons for baby. Grown and better soil for baby. Amongst the strictest standards in the world for baby. Means nothing but the best for baby. Gerber, anything for baby.
And for anybody who has just joined, what we're doing now as a group, we are reconciling our budget, which means we're going and looking at our bank statements for April, and we are inputting our transactions into our budget tracker, which is the every dollar. And so, if you are unsure how to do it, just follow the screen and follow along because I'm actually doing my reconciliation in real time. And if you just joined, introduce yourself in the comment section so that we can see who you are. Mm. Okay. Another thing came up too, and this is revolving around my business. And so it's super, super important. I'm learning that when you have a business, to make sure you keep everything separate. Um, and so when orders first started to come in, I got a little overwhelmed. And so I was doing everything out of my checkings account, which made it really hard. And so, like, for instance, I was still trying to track inventory. People were like giving me money through Venmo. And so I would deposit it into my, regular checkings account. And then I would buy candles on my site online so that the inventory is counted for. And so I do have on my bank statement like Venmo cash that came in, but it wasn't necessarily for my personal income. Like, right, it wasn't for me to use; it was for the business. And so instead of adding the income to the top, I'm actually going to add it to the line item that says business because I don't want to account for that in next month's. And so it was a payment for 58 and 136. So I'm gonna just do 58. And that was on 49. Venmo to pay for candles. And then I'm going to. There was another charge for 136. Also got. Excuse me, and that was income. Let me actually change that. That was income. 9. Instead of Venmo to pay for candles. And so change that because that was also income. And so what it's done is it's balanced out my business tab. And so at first it was like I had I had spent in this category like $100 and something, but since I put the income, it balanced it out. And so um, next month I should only, as of now, should be only maybe putting $30 transferring into my business because the money that I got from Venmo actually paid for some of the expenses in this category. And some of these expenses in this category was because I was operating the business out of this account. So again, it's the point of this is to make sure that your money stays in certain locations and that it tells a story. And then we also have some people in the chat. Tina's talking about something she didn't account for was her vehicle registration. But luckily, she's not spending so much on parking or gas, and so she's able to balance it out, and that's a really good skill. So after we go through all of this, we're going to look at predictions that we need to make, and then we're going to adjust our budget. But it's really good that Tina is finding places where she can kind of shave off her budget to make room for other things that she may have forgot of, and that's really important to have margin, and it's really important to be able to do stuff like this and reconcile so that you actually know exactly where everything is going. Yeah. I'm almost done with inputting all my expenses, and so we should come together and talk in another like 5 or 10 minutes.
In 90 years as farmers, we thought we'd seen it all, from fires and hurricanes to animal.
Okay, Rachel just joined. Hey, we're going and reconciling our budget, so do as much as you can in the amount of time that we have left, and then we'll have our discussion, and then what'll be great is that you can go back and finish some things that you didn't finish, but welcome. Oh, and if you don't know what we're doing, we're reconciling our budget, which means we're taking our bank statements and we're adding it into our every dollar budget. And if you're curious to see what you should be doing, kind of look at my screen because I'm actually doing mine in real time. Ooh, Okay, so on my Insta stories in the week, I was telling everybody like, oh, I impulse bought and things like that on these two orders of books for my nieces from Sankofa, which is a really dope coffee shop by Howard in Washington D.C. And I was like, oh, like I just impulse bought, but I actually had put money set aside for online shopping. So um, again, sometimes you're surprised in a good way as far as your budget. So, and I have 2 or 3 more transactions to do, and then we're gonna come together and we're gonna talk. And you guys are gonna be able to tell me things about myself by looking at my budget. Okay, guys. So I have inputted all my expenses, and here now it's just so put a thumbs up if you got more than halfway through your expenses. And there's no right or wrong or anything like that. You're not behind if you haven't inputted all your expenses. And I see a couple people just joined. What we're doing is reconciling our budget, which means that we're going through our bank statements and we're adding our charges from our bank statements into our budgeting tool called the Every Dollar. I have just finished inputting all of my expenses, and so we're going to stop here and we're going to have a short conversation, and we're going to learn some things about me, and you're going to learn some things about yourselves. Okay, good. So Tina has made it halfway through. Great. And so wherever you're at in the process of inputting your expenses into your budget, I want you to stop. And I want you to go through each section and don't spend a lot of time on it. See where there's red. So meaning red mean that you slightly overspent in an area or you forgot about something. Or like for instance, for me, I overspent in the business section because I had an unexpected kind of burst of business through selling my candles. But I want you to look at your statements, and then in the comment section of YouTube, I want you to kind of tell us what your budget tells about you. Like, for instance, if I go to eating out, um, you'll see in my transactions that I went to the cookie jar twice in 2 weeks. And the first time I bought one cookie, and the second time I bought two. And then if the statements I posted from this week, I went to the cookie jar again and I spent $8. So you could tell from this that I really love cookies. So I'm going to put in the chat that your girl really loves cookies. So go through your budget and tell us what your budget says about you. And so I'm going to put some music on, and we're going to do that for about 5 minutes.
Our members understand for 100 more. What's up, guys? Anton Curley here from dropshiplifestyle.com, and in this video I want to talk to you about
Okay, so Tina is saying that she's eating out less, but she loves groceries and stuff. So her budget is telling her that she actually likes to cook, um, maybe even more so than she thought she did because she has the time. I don't know, but her budget is telling her that she likes to cook right now. Okay, another thing is that in my budget, and your budget can tell you like fun things about yourself, but it also can like give you a reality check. So if you look at my budget for rent, I told this in my Instagram live, but I moved from New York back home to the West Coast, and I'm staying with my mom, and it allowed me a great opportunity to pay off a lot of debt and things like that. And my mom has been super gracious and clearly only charging me $300 for rent. But I had forgot to pay or forgot to account for it in my budget last month's budget rent. So like I had to pay it out of this month's budget, which and I still have to pay for next month as well. So like this number actually goes needs to go to 600, and then I'm like thinking to myself, um, is like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was living in New York, there's no way I would not have accounted for rent. But I'm also taking advantage of this opportunity, but income that I get and running my life as a business. Um, my mom is somebody that I need to pay, and so I need to be cognizant that I'm not taking advantage of the opportunity that she gives me. So your budget can say a lot of different things about yourself. And so we have Rachel has said that she's definitely never budgeted enough in the past for not eating out. Um, she now sees how much groceries she actually needs to spend. Yes, cooking is real. Um, and so with that information, well, you can kind of say like where are your expectations, right? So it sounds like when you eat out, when you have the opportunity to be outside your house, you eat out more, right? Um, and so making sure that you budget enough for when you go back outside that you eat out enough. Because what's happening is that now that you're not eating out enough, you're actually coming home, and that quote unquote overspending that you would do when you eat out, you're actually just doing it eating in. If I got your comment right. So making sure that whatever you put in your budget is realistic to what you do, because your habits don't change, but you need to be able to account for them in your budget. And if you do that, then next time you'll be able to say, okay, maybe I want to go out one time less, and so your budget can reflect that. But you have to be honest and real with yourself first. Okay, and Rachel saying yes, realistic. So then the next part, what we're going to do, well, actually, I'm going to give to you guys as homework is is to go through your budget and see the places that you overspent and see if you can adjust from the places that you realize that, oh, I didn't really use that money at all. Um, like my grocery bill is super small, so I can take some of those grocery bills and I can move it over to my business. And so I can balance out what I spent to make sure that I stay on track. And so, for instance, in my business, I spent $145 that I did not have. So I need to go through my budget and find $145 and like where can I skim off. Um, and you can do that by if you click the remaining button, you can switch it to spent, and you can see how much you spent. But it's nice to do remaining. So um, if I want to find $145, I can say, okay, right? Like I'm not using my trainer this week, so I'm actually going to take this month. So I'm going to take him down to 0. And then now in the top left, I have $167 left to budget, and I'm going to put now I can put $145 here. And then my Adobe subscription was $22. So, oh, it was $20, and I have $22 left to budget. So I'm going to put $20 here. And then I'm going to delete this subscription, right? I told you guys this earlier, this Manny subscription. I signed it up for one time. It was random. I think I saw it on Instagram. And it's been charging me $1 for whoever knows how long, right? But if I'm minding my business, I know that this dollar I could have used towards something else. And so I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So my goal, my action is to delete this subscription, but I also still need to account for it. So I'm going to put $1 here. And so my goal is to get rid of the red. But if I got rid of the red before I looked at what was actually red, then I wouldn't know what I need to change for next month, really. So for rent, I know this is going to have to be $600. So I need to find somewhere to take. Ooh, ooh, I wanted to save for my first home, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that with this check because of, me forgetting to pay where I'm at right now. So I'm going to change this to 600 because that's how much I'll have to pay this month. And then check. Oh, so I still have a red for my savings because I had a savings transferred. So I will take that from, oh no, I still have $101 left to budget. So I'm going to put savings, or the $76.61. And so now my budget has been balanced. I know exactly what I've spent. I know things that I can be working on. So my next thing to work on is to make sure that my mother receives her money on time. Make sure that I am accounting for my business and that all my business expenses happen in another account so that I can accurately monitor it. And yeah, so that was it for today. Um, if you have any comments or questions, um, please ask them in the chat. And there is a 20-second delay, so I may look like I'm paused for a second, but I'm just waiting to see what you guys are putting in the YouTube chat. Okay, Kira said food and groceries, girl. Yes, food and groceries are real. And do a thumbs up if you liked having this on YouTube Live. I do like YouTube Live because I'm able to you're able to see me, you're able to see my screen and do all this type of stuff. But I guess I got to get better with the technology and learn it a little better. And also put in the comments when you would like to for us to come together again. Okay, so Kira said thanks for doing this. Okay, so I'm not seeing much in the chat, but I'm assuming that this was all helpful for you guys. So what I think I'm going to do is to end this session and thank you guys so much for coming. And when we do this again, because I think if we get repetitive with it, we'll be able to set our goals and reach them, and be able to attack things from the standpoint of our money. Because where you put your is it a Bible quote or something? It's like where you can tell by a man's desires or his heart's desire by like where he puts his money or whatever. But just in like for real, like where you put your money at says a lot about the things that you want to do, and also to where you're at, right? So if I want to start a business, but I know I'm putting all my money in somewhere else, or like I want to make more money, I want to build wealth, I want to get to the yacht, if when I do my budget, if I see that I'm spending all my money in like clothing or shoes or happy hours and stuff like that, which is real. Like I love that type of stuff. But it'll show you that okay, there's a disconnect. I'm disconnected from what I want and my habits and what I'm doing. And so it allows you to really like, okay, like let me work on myself because somewhere there is a disconnect. So again, I hope you guys finish out your budgets. Feel free to DM me on Instagram at CocoLaBridge or send me an email or text me because most of you guys know me on here. But if you have any questions or if you have any like triumphs that you want to say or if you're going through a hard time, um, definitely text me and let's talk about it. And I'm so grateful that you guys have been here, and I am going to figure out how to stop streaming and close this out. So thank you so much. And I'm also going to post this eventually and edit a little bit for folks. So if people you know who need this and who aren't able to be here, we can share and make sure that they get this information too.